When the red star bleeds and darkness gathers, Azor Ahai shall be born again amidst smoke and salt to wake dragons out of stone. Azor Ahai has been one of the most talked about and highly debated topics in the A Song of Ice and Fire fandom since the dawn of time. Is it Jon? Is it Daenerys? Is it Bran? Who is it? Everyone seems to get caught up on who is it, but have you ever wondered, what is it? Why is it? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it even real? George R. R. Martin has wrote about the dangers of prophecy many times, and the writers that he has said have influenced him have handled prophecy as more of a cautionary tale than an actual treasure map. Prophecy is like a treacherous woman. She takes your member in her mouth and you moan with the pleasure of it and think, how sweet, how fine, how good this is, and then her teeth snap shut and your moans turn to screams. Prophecy will bite your prick off every time. When it comes to the Azor Ahai prophecy, I think we need to evaluate everything we think we know. I want to dissect this riddle with surgical precision. We will travel through years of A Song of Ice and Fire history, legend, and lore. Get your popcorn because I got the juice. The Azor Ahai prophecy, or the prince that was promised prophecy, is the foundation of our story. At least we are led to believe that it is. But George has shown us prophecy in Westeros is not a gift, it's a curse. It destroys those who try to shape the world around it, and it shackles those who try to live inside of it. As the story progresses, we find out that Prince Rhaegar Targaryen was actually obsessed with this prophecy, so much so that he abandoned his wife and children, ran off with the High Lord's daughter, got her pregnant, and started a war. His obsession with this prophecy brought the Targaryen dynasty that had ruled Westeros for hundreds of years to its knees and ended the reign of the dragon. Rhaegar's obsession started when he was really young. As a young boy, the Prince of Dragonstone was bookish to a fault. He was reading so early that men said Queen Rhaella must have swallowed some books and a candle whilst he was in her womb. Rhaegar took no interest in the play of other children. The maesters were awed by his wits, but his father's knights would jest sourly that Baelor the Blessed had been born again, until one day Prince Rhaegar found something in his scrolls that changed him. No one knows what it might have been, only that the boy suddenly appeared early one morning in the yard as the knights were donning their steel. He walked up to Sir Willem Darry, the master-at-arms, and said, "I will require a sword and armor. It seems I must be a warrior." We assume that Rhaegar read something in a scroll because that was what Barristan says. But it could be that Rhaegar just had a dream. Dreams have been detrimental to House Targaryen. They have shaped their whole ancestry dating back to the doom of Valyria. At its apex, Valyria was the greatest city in the known world, the center of civilization. Within its shining walls, 2 rival houses vied for power and glory in court and council, rising and falling in an endless, subtle, off-savage struggle for dominance. The Targaryens were far from the most powerful of the Dragon Lords, and their rivals saw their flight to Dragonstone as an act of surrender, as cowardice. But Lord Aenar's maiden daughter, Daenys, known forever afterward as Daenys the Dreamer, had foreseen the destruction of Valyria by fire. And when the doom came 12 years later, the Targaryens were the only Dragon Lords to survive. We have seen over and over these dreams and prophecies shaping the Targaryen dynasty. In House of the Dragon, it is revealed that Aegon the Conqueror had a dream that he called the Song of Ice and Fire, foretelling of a great winter. It is said that this is the dream that led him to conquer Westeros, to unite Westeros, to withstand the coming long night. This is not a show-only thing. This was hinted at by George R. R. Martin when he released Fire and Blood Volume 1. This is book canon. But where are these dreams coming from? Who is sending these dreams, and what motivates them to send them? Well, with Aegon the Conqueror, I've always found it strange that Harren the Black beggared the entire Riverlands, including chopping down ancient weirwoods for his rafters for Harrenhal, and on the very day Harren laid the last brick in his monstrous castle, Aegon landed in Westeros. And Aegon and Balerion would be the ones that would turn Harrenhal into a ruin and extinguish Black Harren's entire line. That could be a coincidence. Could the children of the forest, mad with rage from their sacred trees, being used to build this monstrosity in the God's Eye have sent the dreams to Aegon to get him to come over here? Could they have sent the dreams to Daenerys? I know theories exist that this is the case, but we will circle back to that because the dreams may be coming from something else entirely. All dreams might not be originating from the same place. Or maybe the more desperate the Targaryens became, the more detrimental were their dreams. Barristan tells Daenerys that Rhaegar was a sad prince. He was melancholy too, Prince Rhaegar. A sense. The old man hesitated again. Say it, she urged. A sense? A sense of doom. He was born in grief, my queen, and that shadow hung over him all of his days. Viserys had spoken of Rhaegar's birth only once. Perhaps the tale saddened him too much. It was the shadow of Summerhall that haunted him. Was it not? Yes, and yet Summerhall was the place the prince loved best. He would go there from time to time, with only his harp for company. Even the knights of the Kingsguard did not attend him there. He liked to sleep in the ruined hall, beneath the moon and stars, and whenever he came back, he would bring a song. When you heard him play his high harp, with the silver strings, and sing of twilights and tears and the death of kings, you could not but feel that he was singing of himself and those he loved. And this whole passage is interesting, because we know that Summerhall ended in a great blaze that killed a lot of people. Sir Duncan the Tall, Aegon the Fifth, Prince Duncan, Jenny of Oldstones. We know they were trying to hatch dragons. Aegon the Fifth, Aegon the Unlikely, was the brother of Aemon Targaryen. These specific Targaryens, all of which will be featured in A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, Aegon the Unlikely, Daeron the Drunkard, Aerion Brightflame, and Aemon Targaryen were all sons of King Maekar Targaryen, and all of them dreamed of dragons. In A Feast for Crows, Aemon tells Samwell Tarly about his dragon dreams. I remember, Sam. I still remember. He was not making sense. Remember what? Dragons, Aemon whispered. The grief and the glory of my house, they were. The last dragon died before you were born, said Sam. How could you remember them? I see them in my dreams, Sam. I see a red star bleeding in the sky. I still remember red. I see their shadows on the snow. I hear crack of leathern wings, feel their hot breath. My brothers dreamed of dragons too, and the dreams killed them, every one. Aegon the Unlikely had become obsessed with prophecy. He was commissioning journeys to Ashai to retrieve ancient dragon lore in hopes to rebirth dragons. And in his attempt to do so, he perished. Aerion Brightflame drank wildfire, thinking it would turn him into a dragon. He died. Daeron the Drunkard drank himself to death, unable to deal with his dragon dreams. There are theories that exist that these dreams that plagued the sons of Maekar were sent by none other than the Children of the Forest and Bloodraven. Maybe that's true. These dreams definitely were more detrimental than the dreams that saved the Targaryens from the doom and the one that led Aegon to conquer Westeros. There are other theories that exist that the Targaryens saw dreams of Daenerys, specifically Aegon, or Egg, with the bald head. He thought the dream was about him. He saw a bald head in a great blaze and thought it was him. So maybe these weren't tricks sent by some god, but maybe the more desperate they got to make sense of these dreams, the more reckless they got trying to fulfill them. Prophecy is like a half-trained mule. It looks as though it might be useful, but the moment you trust in it, it kicks you in the head. Now we know when it comes to Aegon the Unlikely, there were also some other forces motivating him. A woods witch. She came to court with Jenny of Oldstones, a stunted thing, grotesque to look upon, a dwarf, most people said, though dear to Lady Jenny, who had always claimed that she was one of the children of the forest. Now we know that Jaehaerys II commanded that Aerys and Rhaella be wed, because this woods witch told them that the prince that was promised would come from their line. And the night of the great tragedy at Summerhall, everyone was gathered to celebrate the coming birth of Aerys and Rhaella's first son, Rhaegar Targaryen. This woods witch is believed to be none other than the ghost of Highheart. The ghost of Highheart is a very old woman, a dwarf, albino with red eyes. They say she descends from the children of the forest. It's believed she is the same woman because when she interacts with the Brotherhood without banners, she always requests the same song, Jenny's song. High in the halls of the kings who are gone, Jenny would dance with her ghost. It takes a new meaning, doesn't it, when it's the ghost of Highheart? But also, she has a strange interaction with Arya Stark. She tells Arya, the dwarf woman studied her with dim red eyes. I see you, she whispered. I see you, wolf child, blood child. I thought it was the Lord who smelled of death. She began to sob, her little body shaking. You were cruel to come to my hill. Cruel. I gorged on grief at Summerhall. I need none of yours. Begone from here, dark heart. Begone. Now, she tells Arya that she's cruel to come to her hill and that she gorged on grief at Summerhall. Now, who does Arya Stark look like? Like, who does everyone say Arya reminds them of? Lyanna. Ned Stark tells her, you have a wildness in you, child. The wolf blood, my father used to call it. Lyanna had a touch of it, and my brother Brandon more than a touch. It brought them both to an early grave. Arya heard sadness in his voice. He did not often speak of his father or the brother and sister who had died before she was born. Lyanna might have carried a sword if my lord father had allowed it. You remind me of her sometimes. You even look like her. Remember, the ghost of Highheart said, a wolf child, blood child. Why is Arya causing her so much grief? Did she know Lyanna? Remember, she said she gorged on grief at Summerhall. Did she stick around in the ruins of Summerhall? Did Rhaegar meet her there? Remember, Sir Barristan said Summerhall was his favorite place. He would go there with only his harp, alone. Not even the King's Guard would be with him there. Do you not find it odd that the Brotherhood pays the Ghost of Highheart for her prophecies with songs, and Tomo Seven Strings plays her Jenny song, and she gives him her dreams? Sir Barristan said when Rhaegar would return from Summerhall, he would come back with a song of twilights and tears and the death of kings. And just what kind of dreams does the ghost of Highheart dream? She dreams of the death of kings. The old gods stir and will not let me sleep. I dreamt I saw a shadow with a burning heart butchering a golden stag. I dreamt of a man without a face waiting on a bridge that swayed and swung. On his shoulder perched a drowned crow with seaweed hanging from his wings. I dreamt of a roaring river and a woman that was a fish. Dead she drifted, with red tears on her cheeks, but when her eyes did open, oh, I woke from terror. I dreamt of a wolf howling in the rain, but no one heard his grief. The dwarf woman was saying. I dreamt such a clangor I thought my head might burst. Drums and horns and pipes and screams, but the saddest sound was the little bells. I dreamt of a maid at a feast with purple serpents in her hair, venom dripping from their fangs. The ghost of Highheart tells the Brotherhood of her dreams, and they are literally the death of kings. There's the death of Renly Baratheon, Balon Greyjoy, the Red Wedding with Robb Stark, and the death of Joffrey Baratheon. So it seems Rhaegar's obsession was fed by the ghost of Highheart. Maybe not on purpose, but again, prophecy is dangerous. Maester Aemon talks about Rhaegar and the errors they made in the translation of this prophecy. No one ever looked for a girl, he said. It was a prince that was promised, not a princess. Rhaegar, I thought the smoke was from the fire that devoured Summerhall on the day of his birth, the salt from the tears shed for those who died. He shared my belief when he was young, but later he became persuaded that it was his own son who fulfilled the prophecy, for a comet had been seen above King's Landing on the night Aegon was conceived. What fools we were, who thought ourselves so wise. The error crept in translation. Dragons are neither male nor female. Barth saw the truth of that. The language misled us all for thousands of years. Daenerys is the one, born amidst salt and smoke. The dragons prove it. Just talking of her seemed to make him stronger. I must go to her. I must. Would that I was even 10 years younger. Rhaegar was wrong. Rhaegar lost on the Trident. He lost the battle. He lost the war. He lost the kingdom. And he lost his life. His blood swirled down river with the rubies from his breastplate, and Robert the usurper rode over his corpse to steal the Iron Throne. Rhaegar fought valiantly, Rhaegar fought nobly, Rhaegar fought honorably, and Rhaegar died. His son Aegon's head was smashed in by the mountain. His daughter was put to the sword. Ilia Martell, his wife, butchered. Lyanna died, giving birth to the last piece of Rhaegar Targaryen, Jon Snow. If the Woods Witch is right, the prince that was promised will come from the line of Aerys and Rhaella. The only two people left in this world from that line are Daenerys Targaryen and Jon Snow, and one of them is Azor Ahai. But which one is it? We are first introduced to the idea of Azor Ahai, or a prince that was promised, in A Clash of Kings, the second book of the A Song of Ice and Fire series. In ancient books of Ashai, it is written that there will come a day after a long summer when the stars bleed and the cold breath of darkness falls heavy on the world. In this dread hour, a warrior shall draw from the fire a burning sword, and the sword shall be Lightbringer, the red sword of heroes, and he who clasp it shall be Azor Ahai come again. Melisandre is convinced that Stannis is Azor Ahai. She is convinced of it, but just like Rhaegar, Melisandre is wrong. Because when we're talking about the Azor Ahai prophecy, Daenerys, Stormborn Targaryen, checks every fucking box. I really don't know why there is such a debate about who Azor Ahai is, because it's better for me to just show you, right? In the last chapter of Game of Thrones, we have a scene known as the birth of dragons. The first part of the prophecy says, as darkness gathers and the red star bleeds, literally, and this is what it says in the books, when Daenerys notices the red comet. When a horse lord dies, his horse is slain with him, so he might ride proud into the Nightlands. The bodies are burned beneath an open sky, and the call rises on his fiery steed to take his place amongst the stars. The more fiercely the man burned in life, the brighter his star will shine in the darkness. Jogo spied it first. There, he said in a hushed voice. Dany looked and saw it, low in the east. The first star was a comet, burning red, blood red, fire red, the dragon's tail. She could not have asked for a stronger sign. The first star in the sky as darkness gathers, she sees, is a red comet. Now this says, Azor Ahai shall be reborn, waking dragons from stone. Now Daenerys literally has stone eggs, stone dragon eggs, and these dragons are referred to as stone dragons 1,000 times in the text. Dany curled up on her side, pulling the sand silk cloak across her and cradling the egg in the hollow between her swollen belly and small tender breast. She liked to hold them. They were so beautiful, and sometimes just being close to them made her feel stronger, braver, as if somehow she were drawing strength from the stone dragons locked inside. There is even a quote about Daenerys literally being reborn. Viserys was Mad Aerys' son. Just so. Daenerys is quite different. He popped a roasted lark into his mouth and crunched it noisily, bones and all. The frightened child who sheltered in my manse died on the Dothraki Sea and was reborn in blood and fire. This dragon queen who wears her name is a true Targaryen. If we take into account Daenerys' dreams of dragons and the rebirth of them, she dreams of Drogon before Drogon is born. Things start to make more sense. Her dragon dreams are very prophetic. They're almost a step-by-step guide to birthing dragons. But also, her dreams seem more like Aegon the Conqueror's and Dany's the Dreamer's dreams than the other dreamers who have died before her. Is Drogon truly Balerion come again? Did Aegon's dreams come from Balerion? In House of the Dragon, it was revealed that Dany's the Dreamer was Balerion's first rider. Then Aegon. But Balerion's been dead for hundreds of years before Daenerys was born. But Drogon looks just like him. And one of the Dothraki have something very interesting to say about Drogon. Aegon's dragons were named for the gods of old Valyria, she told her blood riders one morning after a long night's journey. Visenya's dragon was Rhaegar, Rhaenys had Meraxes, and Aegon rode Balerion, the Black Dread. It was said that Rhaegar's breath was so hot that it could melt a knight's armor and cook the man inside, that Meraxes swallowed horses whole, and Balerion, his fire was as black as his scales, his wings so vast that whole towns were swallowed up in the shadow when he passed overhead. The Dothraki looked at her hatchlings uneasily. The largest of her three was shiny black, his scales slashed with streaks of vivid scarlet to match his wings and horns. Khaleesi, Agu murmured. There sits Balerion come again. It may be as you say, blood of my blood, Dany replied gravely. But he shall have a new name for his new life. The way Daenerys' dragon dreams happen, it really seems to be that Drogon is giving her these dreams. Could Drogon be Balerion born again? Did Balerion give Aegon those dreams? Did Balerion give Daenerys the Dreamer those dreams? And did the dreams that happened when the dragons were all gone, did they come from somewhere else? Are the dragons gods? In a vision she has of Quaithe, Quaithe says something very interesting. Remember who you are, Daenerys, the stars whispered in a woman's voice. The dragons know. Do you? One of the other things we also have to contend with is the forging of Lightbringer. Lightbringer being made, how it's made, Salladhor Saan tells Davos the tale. Me personally, when I hear about the forging of Lightbringer, we have this tale of the forging of this magical blade, but why do we need this magical blade when we already have Valyrian steel, and Valyrian steel kills White Walkers? No one knows how Valyrian steel is made. No one can make it since the Doom of Valyria. We know Valyrian steel can kill White Walkers. We know Valyrian steel is rare. We know it's spell forged in Valyria. And to buy one, it costs a fortune, like a literal fortune. House Lannister paid the price of an army to buy Bright Roar, their sword that was lost. So I think the original Azor Ahai may have been the first person to forge Valyrian steel. I don't think that means Lightbringer is a sword. I don't think we need to forge Lightbringer. I think Salladhor Saan is leading us down a rabbit hole we should step over. Daenerys does sacrifice her love, her Nissa, Khal Drogo, and her child, and Mirri Maz Duur. But what if the red sword of heroes is a dragon? Now, I know you're probably like, but what about Jon Snow? What about Jon Snow? Me personally, I think that George R.R. Martin is definitely the type of writer that would write a character like Rhaegar Targaryen that would doom his whole family based on prophecy he's trying to fulfill and write him wrong. Write him wrong. I don't think there needs to be a prophesized hero. Like the irony that is Daenerys was there the whole time. Now, I don't think he was completely wrong. Like, I don't think Rhaegar was completely wrong, because I do think Jon Snow is important, but I think his value isn't tied to some prophesized hero trope. Jon's value is not tied to him being a Targaryen. It's tied to him being a Stark, a man, just a man. In these fantasy stories, we get caught up in this prophesized hero, these magical storylines, and then we have characters like Jon Snow. People hated my take on this on Twitter, but honestly, if you look at the story as a whole and you separate Jon has one of the most human experiences in this story. There's all these people with these extraordinary powers, like Bran is trying to become a tree wizard, and he's dreaming of the three-eyed raven, the three-eyed crow, and he's chasing them all through the haunted forest and beyond the wall. And Daenerys is having dragon dreams and trying to hatch dragons and conquering the east with her dragons, and Arya is trying to become a magical assassin. Jon Snow is having a much more human experience. It's like Jon Snow, Ghost, and Longclaw, but he's still going to be instrumental in saving the realm, not because he's a prophesized hero, but because he's a man, a Stark, and there's value in that. Jon is tied to magic, of course, like he has dreams and he can warg, but he doesn't understand it or even try to. He never tries to embrace it at all. Jon's journey is tied way more to his humanity. Everything he's done thus far has been because he has a deep-rooted moral compass. From saving the wildlings, defending Castle Black, becoming the Lord Commander, Jon Snow's importance is who he is, how he was raised by Ned Stark, not his secret parentage no one even fucking knows about. Jon's story isn't shaped by magic. It's shaped by loneliness, loss, and hard choices. Killing Qhorin Halfhand, killing Ygritte because he can't abandon his duty, siding with the wildlings knowing it'll make his brothers in black hate him. These aren't heroic chosen one moments. They are tragic human moments. The whole fucking point is the prophecy isn't what makes you the hero. Have you ever thought what the prophecy means? Honestly, I have always believed that Azor Ahai, or the prince that was promised, isn't something that we should celebrate. Like, it's not a prize to be won, especially depending on where you're sitting. From the Targaryens' perspective, they were always trying to fulfill this prophecy because it meant dragons being born again. And dragons were the strength of their house. Dragons were how they dominated. But when Melisandre preaches about Azor Ahai bringing on this summer that never ends, that's no different than the White Walkers bringing on a winter that never ends. A song is about balance, not domination. The real question we should be asking is, can Azor Ahai bring back dragons without being consumed by the power that they wield? While I think Daenerys is Azor Ahai, she doesn't have to fulfill it. That's the true victory. The true victory would be to transcend it. But can she? Can she be a dragon, the very weapon of destruction her ancestors wielded, and still maintain her humanity? Can she be the weapon forged in fire and the one who chooses not to burn the world? Like, that's Stannis' failure, right? Stannis walks into prophecy and burns his daughter, so we think. That's Rhaegar's failure. Like, he walks into prophecy and dies along with his family. Can Daenerys, Azor Ahai, look prophecy in the face and say no? I think we're going to find out whenever we get Winds of Winter. Jon's character could change when we see how he's resurrected and how he is when he comes back, but I'm going to do a separate video on Jon Snow. But I definitely think that Daenerys is Azor Ahai. I don't think it's a good thing that she is, and I hope she has the willpower not to bring on a summer that never ends. But what do you guys think? As always, thanks for watching. Okay, my sweet summer children, have a good day.